औज़ुबिल्लाहिमिनश्शैतानिर्रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम रब्बि इश्रह ली सदरी वयस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली रब्बि ज़िदनी इल्मा। My dear students of first year MBBS, after a short break of the holidays and the Eid holidays, today I am again talking to you, and let's start with the histology of the dermis. Let's start with the integumentary system, that is the skin and its appendages. Skin and its certain derivatives are called collectively the integumentary system. Skin is of two types. There is a thick skin and there is a thin skin. You are familiar with the skin of the palm and sole. It is thick skin and it is non-hairy. There are no hair follicles seen, and the remainder of the body is covered by a thin skin which is hairy skin, and you will see a lot of hair follicles present in the skin. As regards the skin is which is also known as the integument or cutis. It forms the external covering of the body. It consists of two layers of completely different types of tissues. As you know, the dermis and epidermis. Epidermis is nothing, this is one type of an epithelium. I have already told you the stratified squamous keratinized epithelium. Epidermis is stratified squamous keratinized epithelium. मैंने इसके बारे में आपको पहले बहुत मुख्तसर बयान किया। मैंने आपको बताया था कि ये एक ऐसा एपिथेलियम है जिसमें बहुत सारी लेयर्स हैं सेल्स की, और जस्ट अबव द बेसल लैमिना द फर्स्ट लेयर कंसिस्ट्स ऑफ द columnar cells, then there are several layers of polyhedral cells, and in the superficial layer there are squamous cells, and these squamous cells, in the process of keratinization, they lose their nuclei and they become dead, and there is deposition of a filamentous protein keratin in the cytoplasm of these cells. I will talk about this in detail later on, but here today I am going to tell you about the epidermis, that is the stratified squamous keratinized epithelium. You will find that there are four types of cells in the epidermis: the keratinocytes, the melanocytes, the Merkel cells and the Langerhans cells. असल में मैं आपको बताता हूँ केराटिनोसाइट की ज़िंदगी के मुख्तलिफ मराहल, इसकी ज़िंदगी के मुख्तलिफ मदारिज इसमें एपिडर्मिस की मुख्तलिफ लेयर्स में एलेबोरेट होते हैं, और आपको शायद पहले नहीं मैं बता सका, आज मैं आपको बताऊंगा कि एपिडर्मिस कंसिस्ट्स ऑफ 4-5 लेयर्स. From below upwards, the first layer is the stratum germinativum, that is also known as the stratum basale. Then we have got the stratum germinativum, stratum spinosum, stratum granulosum, stratum lucidum and stratum corneum. These are different layers of the epidermis, and epidermis is actually it is a layer of keratinocytes. Keratinocyte is the major and principal cell of the epidermis, and keratinocytes have different stages in its life cycle. There is proliferation and growth in the lower layer. सेल्स पैदा होते हैं, बढ़ते हैं, फलते फूलते हैं, उनके अंदर तब्दीलियां आती हैं, वो ऊपर की तरफ जाते हैं, डिस्प्लेसमेंट एंड डिफरेंशिएशन, उनमें तब्दीलियां आती हैं, वो डिस्प्लेस होते हैं, ऊपर वाले सेल्स को डिस्प्लेस करते हैं, और उसके बाद डिस्केमेशन एंड डिफरेंशिएशन, डिस्केमेशन There are 4 types of cells in the epidermis: the keratinocytes, the melanocytes, the Langerhans cells, and the Merkel cells. And when we see under the microscope the epidermis, which is stratified squamous keratinized epithelium, it consists of many layers of the cells, and here today I will name these layers. And just above the basal lamina, the first layer, which is towards the basal side, is called the stratum basale, also known as the stratum germinativum, because a lot of germination is going on in this layer. The cells which are the principal and major cells of the epidermis, they are known as the keratinocytes. केराटिनोसाइट्स यहाँ पैदा हो रहे हैं, उसके बाद बढ़ते हैं, फलते फूलते हैं। गोया के केराटिनोसाइट की ज़िंदगी के मुख्तलिफ मदारज इन तमाम लेयर्स में हमें नज़र आएंगे। जब हम नीचे से ऊपर की तरफ जाएंगे तो स्ट्रेटम बेसेल और स्ट्रेटम जर्मिनेटिवम में केराटिनोसाइट्स पैदा होते हैं, इनकी ग्रोथ होती है, डिफरेंशिएशन होती है, प्रोलिफरेशन होती है, and then in the upper layers we will find the displacement and shedding of the cells, the death and desquamation. जैसे जैसे हम ऊपर जाते हैं इन सेल्स की उम्र पूरी होती चली जाती है और वो मरने के करीब हो जाते हैं और फिर वो मर जाते हैं और उसके बाद वो शेड हो जाते हैं। तो गोया कि इस तरह से अल्लाह तबारक व तआला तकरीबन 21 से 30 दिन में पूरी की पूरी एपिडर्मिस को रिप्लेस कर देते हैं। तो चुनांचे ये दिस इज़ द प्रोसेस ऑफ कंटिन्यूस शेडिंग इन द मैमल्स एंड ऑल द हायर एनिमल्स. देयर इज़ अ प्रोसेस ऑफ कंटिन्यूस शेडिंग गोइंग ऑन. आई हैव टोल्ड यू अनदर टर्म, द पीरियोडिक शेडिंग. And I have told you that in certain lower animals like the snakes and lizards, vertebrates, there is a periodic shedding. That is, after a certain period of time, these animals, they shed off their epidermis. But in case of human being and the mammals, we are always shedding the superficial cells. The superficial layers of the epidermis, they are being shed from the surface, and the new cells which are being generated and which are being produced, there will be a lot of mitotic activity going on in the stratum germinativum. That is the reason we call it the stratum germinativum. उग रहे हैं, नए सेल बन रहे हैं और वो पैदा हो रहे हैं, फिर वो बढ़ते हैं, फलते फूलते हैं, वो जवान होते हैं, फिर वो उदेड़ उम्र होते हैं, उसके बाद वो बुढ़ापे की तरफ गामजन हैं और जैसे जैसे बूढ़े होते चले जाते हैं ऊपर की तरफ डिस्प्लेस होते चले जाते हैं और उसके बाद डिस्क्वेमेशन और डेथ टेक्स प्लेस और ये सुपरफिशियल लेयर से सेल्स की शेडिंग होना शुरू हो जाती है. द अदर सेल इज़ द मेलानोसाइट. Melanocytes are the cells which are stellate-like cells. They are star-shaped cells with oval bodies and long dendritic processes. And these cells, they are the cells which are secreting the melanin pigment. There is a black-brown pigment being formed in the melanocytes. These are found and they are scattered between the keratinocytes of the stratum basale and stratum spinosum of the epidermis. Melanocytes are not identifiable in the routine H&E sections. Special staining procedures are used for their display, for example the silver impregnation technique. Melanocytes do not form desmosomes with the adjacent keratinocytes. Melanocytes, they synthesize a brown-black pigment called melanin that protects the skin from the harmful effect of the electromagnetic radiation received mainly from the sun. So formation of the melanin pigment occurs within membrane-bound bodies called melanosomes. So we will find a lot of membrane-bound granules. The melanosomes are derived from the Golgi bodies of the cell, and they contain an enzyme tyrosinase. This enzyme acts on tyrosine to transform it into 3,4-dihydroxyphenylalanine DOPA. You have read in biochemistry the 3,4-dihydroxyphenylalanine, which is subsequently converted into the melanin. And the melanin packed mature melanosomes, which are called now melanin granules. These brown-black granules are transferred to the keratinocytes through the dendritic processes of the melanocytes. So this is the, you can see this is the cell, and these melanocytes are present in between the keratinocytes of the stratum basale and stratum spinosum, and these two layers collectively they are known as the stratum Malpighi. Then we have got the Langerhans cells. The Langerhans cells, like the melanocytes, cannot be identified in the ordinary H&E stained sections. With special staining procedures such as gold impregnation, these cells are seen to be located in the stratum spinosum of the epidermis. They also have dendritic processes, thereby resembling the stellate melanocytes. But there are no melanosomes or other pigment granules. Electron microscopic studies reveal that a Langerhans cell exhibits several distinctive features. Its nucleus is characteristically indented at several, ये तुम देख सकते हो, ये ऐसे है जैसे गरारी होती है, इंडेंटेशंस जिनकी वजह से ये इस तरह की शक्ल धार लेता है इसका न्यूक्लियस, और ये एक बड़ा characteristic feature है. And also you will find that in the cytoplasm there are characteristic rod-shaped granules which are known as the Burbix granules. Its plasma lemma does not form desmosomes with neighboring keratinocytes. No melanosomes or filaments are present in the cytoplasm of a Langerhans cell. Function of the Langerhans cells was obscure, but it is now known that these cells participate in the body's immune response, performing the same function as that of the macrophages in the connective tissue. So they belong to MPS, that is mononuclear phagocyte system. It has been shown that the Langerhans cells take up foreign antigens and present it to the T lymphocytes. So they are one of the defense cells in the skin. Then we have got the Merkel cells. Merkel cells are also found in the basal layer of the epidermis, and these cells are found near the stratum basale of the epidermis in association with intraepithelial free nerve endings. The cytoplasm of these cells stains darkly due to the presence of numerous small dense cold granules. It has been established that the Merkel cells and the associated free nerve endings serve as mechanoreceptors. Now let's talk about the layers of the epidermis. As I have told you that there are 4 or 5 layers in the epidermis. For example, in the thin skin there are 4 layers. Starting from the basal side, the first layer is the stratum basale. And the stratum basale, also called the stratum germinativum, it consists of a single layer of basophilic columnar or cuboidal keratinocytes resting on a basement membrane which lies on the dermis. Each cell contains an oval nucleus. Desmosomes occur frequently at the lateral and outer surface of the cells and serve to bind the cells together. Hemidesmosomes are found on the cell membrane in relation to the basal lamina. Cytoplasm of these cells contains keratin intermediate filaments, which are titled by some histologists as tonofilaments. Bundles of these filaments are visible under the light microscope as fibrils, which are also called the tonofibrils. The stratum basale is characterized by the presence of numerous mitotic figures, indicating that this layer is responsible for the production of new keratinocytes. Hence the alternative name is the stratum germinativum. Then next is the stratum spinosum. The stratum spinosum comprises of several layers of irregular polyhedral keratinocytes. You can see this is the first layer, and then there are several layers of polyhedral cells which are keratinocytes containing spherical nuclei. Towards the surface the cells become flattened. In ordinary histological section, the cells of the stratum spinosum show fine cytoplasmic processes of the adjacent cells. These are not the true spines. These are actually the pulling effect of the desmosomes on the cell membrane. So they assume the shape of a stellate, and because of this pulling effect we will find the spinous processes of the cell, and this layer is called stratum spinosum. It should be realized that the spiny appearance of these cells is not real. The stratum basale and stratum spinosum are collectively known as stratum LPGI. As I have already told you, in this stratum production of new keratinocytes occurs and their progressive differentiation takes place. The stratum LPGI also lodges the melanocytes, Langerhans cells and the Merkel cells. Next layer is the stratum granulosum. As the name indicates, these are the cells in which there are granules of different types. So this is known as stratum granulosum. This stratum consists of 3 to 5 layers of flattened rhomboid shaped cells, diamond shaped cells, with their long axis parallel to the surface of the skin. The cytoplasm of these keratinocytes contains coarse basophilic granules called keratohyalin granules. These granules are precursors of the amorphous part of the filament material complex found in the cytoplasm of the cells of the stratum corneum. Keratin filaments are also found in the cytoplasm of the cells of the stratum granulosum. Now, with the increase in the size and number of the keratohyalin granules, the nuclei of the cells of stratum granulosum, they show degenerative changes. They become pycnotic and gradually become pale and indistinct. This is the start of the disintegration and the death of the cell. The cell organelles are lost as a result of autophagy. इस घर को आग लग गई घर के चिराग से by lysosomal enzymes. Consequently, the cells become dead before moving into the next layer. So the cells of the stratum granulosum also contain small granules which are known as the keratinosomes. These are actually the membrane coating granules. These granules gradually move to the cell periphery and eventually discharge their contents into the intercellular spaces of the stratum granulosum. This extruded material contains proteoglycans and phospholipids and acts as a barrier to penetration by foreign materials, particularly water, thus providing in the skin a very important sealing effect. So these membrane coating granules, they give rise to a sealing effect to the skin. Next layer is the stratum lucidum. This layer is apparent only in the skin of the palm and sole. That is the thick skin, and usually absent in other regions of the body. It appears as a thin translucent zone. It is composed of 3 to 5 layers of closely packed and extremely flattened eosinophilic cells. The cells are not distinguishable as separate entities. Their nuclei and organelles are absent, and the cytoplasm consists primarily of densely packed filaments embedded in a refractile substance called इलियाडीन, which is a derivative of keratohyalin. मैंने आपको बताया था keratohyalin granules जब बढ़ने लगते हैं stratum granulosum में तो उस वक़्त सेल की डेथ शुरू हो जाती है और सेल जो हैं वो डेड हो जाते हैं. इस लेयर में stratum lucidum में एक्चुअली डेड सेल्स हैं जो कि उस एक अमॉर्फस मटेरियल में जिसका नाम इलियाडीन है, और ये इलियाडीन जो है ये केराटोहाइलिन ग्रैन्यूल्स से निकलता है और इसमें ये सेल्स जो हैं वो पड़े होते हैं और ये स्ट्रेटम ल्यूसिडम बनाते हैं. द स्ट्रेटम कॉर्नियम. As its name indicates, this is the superficial most layer. The stratum corneum is the outermost layer of the epidermis, consisting of dead cells which are known as the corneocytes. These are horny cells, and these cells are devoid of nuclei. The nuclei have been lost here, and cell becomes dead, and in the cytoplasm of these cells there is deposition of filamentous protein which is called keratin, which is present as bundles of intermediate filaments embedded in a dense amorphous matrix. The keratinized cells becomes more and more flattened as the surface is approached. The cell membranes of the most superficial cells also becomes thickened, and a unit membrane structure is not recognizable. These cells are constantly shed off from the surface of the skin, as I have told you. We can classify the skin into two types. There is a thick skin and there is a thin skin. So these are the types of the skin. Thick skin consists of 5 layers. There is a prominent stratum corneum, well-developed stratum granulosum. This thick skin is present on the palms of the hands and soles of the feet. There is thinner dermis. There are no hair and there are no sebaceous glands. While the thin skin, it consists of 4 layers. It is less prominent stratum corneum, less developed stratum granulosum, dominant and lines most of the body surface, thicker dermis. There are hair and there are a lot of sebaceous glands present in the thick skin. So these are the layers of the cells. You can see these epidermal cells. This is the basal lamina, and then we have got the stratum basale, which consists of a single layer of columnar or high cuboidal cells, and then stratum spinosum. There are many layers of polyhedral cells. In the stratum spinosum and stratum basale we will find the Merkel cells, we will find these dendritic cells which are the melanocytes. These are stellate like cells producing the melanin pigment. Then we have got the cells which are also the Langerhans cells, and this is the stratum granulosum. Stratum granulosum, as its name indicates, 4 to 5 layers of the rhomboid shaped or diamond shaped cells having 2 types of granules in it, the keratohyalin and membrane coating granules, the keratinosomes. And then comes the stratum lucidum, which is only present in the thick skin. And ultimately we have got the stratum corneum, which is the superficial or the outermost layer consisting of the dead keratinocytes. So I have told you that in all these 5 layers of the epidermis you will find the life cycle of the keratinocyte. So keratinocyte, they are being produced in the basal layer, then they become differentiated, they then got the displacement, and then there will be the death and desquamation. Now the dermis. Dermis is nothing but this is the connective tissue. I have told you that the skin, that is the integument, it is composed of 2 different types of tissues tethered together. The superficial layer is the epidermis, which is epithelium, and the deep surface is the dermis, which is nothing, that is the connective tissue. And even in the dermis again we have got, dermis is called corium also. It is the sheet of connective tissue that supports the epidermis and binds it to the subcutaneous tissue. The thickness of the dermis varies from 0.5 to 3 mm. It is composed of 2 layers with rather indistinct boundaries. The outer layer is called the papillary layer, while the deeper one is known as the reticular layer. So you can see, can you see these, the papilla? These are the papilla, the projections of the, you can see the connective tissue is projecting upwards and it is lifting the epidermis, and it is lifting the basal layer of the epidermis. And these papillae, they are known as the dermal papillae. This layer is so named because it bears the ridges that protrude into the epidermis. This layer is thinner than the reticular layer and is composed of loose connective tissue, while the reticular layer is dense irregular connective tissue. When we were classifying the connective tissue, I have told you the dermis is the example of the dense irregular connective tissue, but here I am now telling you that dermis is also composed of two layers. One is of loose areolar connective tissue and the other is of dense irregular connective tissue. So in the papillary layer there are fibroblasts, mast cells, macrophages, and an extensive network of fine collagenous, elastic and reticular fibers. Just beneath the epidermis, the reticular fibers group to form fibrils, which insert into the basal lamina of the epidermis and extend perpendicularly into the dermis. These fibrils, called anchoring fibrils, bind the epidermis to the dermis. So those papillae that have capillary plexuses are termed the vascular papillae, while those containing the special nerve endings are called nervous papillae. So this is a very this loose areolar connective tissue is very vascular. You will see a lot of blood vessels. Then we find another layer just beneath this, that is the reticular tissue. Reticular layer is the broader zone. This is thicker and consists of dense, irregularly arranged connective tissue. It is composed mainly of interlacing bundles of collagenous fibers. Some elastic fibers are also present. The intervals between the interlacing bundles are occupied by the adipose tissue and sweat glands. All the accessories of the gland are lying here in this reticular layer, that is the appendages of the skin, because of which we call it the integumentary system. We have got the accessories of the skin, that is the sebaceous glands, the sweat glands, the hair follicles, the hair root and the hair shaft. All these are the accessories, and nails also. Scattered smooth muscle fibers are found within the deep parts of the reticular layer in the areolae, penis, scrotum and perineum. Such portions of the skin become wrinkled during contraction of these muscle fibers. The dermis also lodges the hair follicles and the sweat and sebaceous glands, which are epidermal derivatives extending into the dermis. Dermis also contains abundant blood vessels, nerves and nerve endings. So this was about the epidermis and the dermis. So next time we will study the hair, and I will tell you about the structure of the hair follicle. I will tell you about the classification of the sweat glands. There are apocrine glands and there are merocrine glands present in the skin at different areas. Then we will also talk about the sebaceous glands, and then we will talk about the nail also. So these are the appendages of the skin. So the papillary dermis contains vascular networks that have two important functions. The first being to support the avascular epidermis with vital nutrients, and secondly to provide a network for thermoregulation. The papillary dermis also contains the free sensory nerve endings and structures called Meissner's corpuscles, also called mechanoreceptors, which is responsible for the light touch. Then reticular dermis, that is the broader lower zone. This is the reticular dermis. The reticular layer of the dermis consists of mainly loose connective tissue, dense irregular connective tissue. The reticular layer of the dermis is important in giving the skin its overall strength and elasticity, as well as housing other important epithelial derived structures such as the glands and the hair follicles. Components of the dermis is composed of three major types of cells. There are fibroblasts, the mast cells, and a lot of adipose cells. A mast cell contains many granules rich in histamine and heparin. We have already read about it when we were studying the connective tissue cells. Although best known for their role in allergy and anaphylaxis, mast cells play an important protective role as well, being intimately involved in wound healing and defense against the pathogens. Apart from these cells, the dermis is also composed of matrix components such as collagen, which provides strength, elastin, which provides elasticity, and extrafibrillar matrix, an extracellular gel-like substance primarily composed of glycosaminoglycans. Most notably, there is hyaluron, proteoglycans, and glycoproteins. Fibroblast, this is a cell which is a star-shaped cell, and it synthesizes the extracellular matrix and collagen and plays a critical role in wound healing. Fibroblasts have a branched cytoplasm surrounding an elliptical cell. Functions of the skin. There is a protective function. It is the first line of defense. It protects our body from infection, pathogens, and harmful ultraviolet irradiation. Then we have got the sensory function. Free nerve endings on the skin are sensitive to pain, touch, heat, and cold, resulting in either voluntary or reflex activities. Then there are secretory functions of the skin. Sweat helps in temperature regulation, and sebum makes the skin smooth. The sebum is the oily secretion which is coming out from the sebaceous glands, which are holocrine type of gland. It's a thick secretion. Then we have got a heat regulatory function. Sweating and cutaneous blood flow helps in temperature regulation. Then also we have got an excretory function. Through the secretion of glands of the skin, water, salt, fatty substances, and urea are excreted. Then we have got a synthetic function. Sun's ultraviolet rays help in synthesis of natural vitamin D. Skin can also manufacture melanin pigment. Then another function of the skin is the water balance. Skin serves a useful means in regulating water balance of the body by perspiration.